What's up, beautiful people? My name's Moment. Some people might know me as Gabriel. Most people know me as Moment. That's what I go by. I am going to be releasing a bunch more content across all the social medias, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and such. But I wanted to take a crack at some long form content and just talk in front of a camera. I say a lot of things on Instagram that might be beneficial for some people or creatives alike, and I don't really dive too much into it, obviously, because it's a story. So I wanted to take this time and just post something on YouTube and see if people vibe with it, or if it helps anyone or anyone connects or it resonates with anybody. But I wanted to take a shot at just talking about my brand and who I am and what Moment is and my journey and where I came from and how I got to where I am now. And, I have no musical background, none. I mean, my mom had dated some musicians early on, but I never gravitated towards, playing an instrument. Always loved music. My brothers gave me an iPod Nano, if you know what that is, for all you kids out there. That had some great stuff on it. Tool, old hip hop, rock. And my mom and I kind of grew up on Toshi Reagan and Tracy Chapman and revolutionary rap, Dead Prez and Dolly Parton. And so my musical interest is pretty broad. Definitely listened to a lot of things. But no musical background. Fell into music in an interesting way. So when I was graduating high school, I was going to go try to play college basketball. But about 6 days after I graduated, I broke my foot and leg and ankle to smithereens. I hit a walnut tree going like 40 miles an hour on an ATV. The walnut tree did not make it. I did. So that's a win on my book. Absolutely messed myself up. It was terrible. Taught me patience. There is no coincidences, so it happened for a reason. And but my whole trajectory of my life was changed forever. And I didn't want to go to college to educate myself. I wanted to go to college to play basketball. So I didn't really further the education. I had no interest to. So I spent, my senior summer and about 6 and 7 months after on my brother's couch, taking up space, not really doing anything, working 2 jobs, and watching a lot of Game of Thrones on my iPhone, and just not really doing anything. My brother, rightfully so, was like, you gotta get out of my house, go do something with your life, make something of yourself. And I was like, you're right. And he's like, why don't you go move to Las Vegas? Mom's out there, go try to do something, anything, make something of your life. I didn't know what that meant, but I was like, okay. Took $3,000 that I saved and sold my car, and I moved out here, got a really crappy apartment in the ghetto, and started this job on the strip at 18, promoting, getting people in limos to nightclubs or strip clubs, VIP bottle service, and made good money right at first because I was talking to people, but immediately got in a lot of trouble very quickly, and almost caught a felony. And by the grace of God, by divine intervention, by luck, by the universe, whatever it may be, got out of it and was acquitted, and showed up to the courtroom, and the judge said, Gabriel, it's good that you came. And I said, yes, Your Honor. And she said, the district attorney has decided not to pursue the case at this time, so you're free to go. And so my charges were dropped, and I made some bad decisions, and my mom was there for me, and it was very emotional. And my family was rightfully very disappointed in me, and I kind of isolated myself, and people stopped talking to me for a little bit, and kind of had to deal with the ramifications of my actions and decisions, being so young and so arrogant. And so I did a lot of nothing for a long time. Was kind of just working really bad jobs, washing dishes, driving for Grubhub, Uber Eats, and doing that to survive, and playing a lot of League of Legends, and hanging out with my friend Kyle and my best friend Stefan of 20 years on Discord, and just playing a lot of League, not doing a lot. And Stefan, formerly known as Eversense, amazing artist, started showing me beats and stuff he was making in Ableton, and he was showing me like some cool electro beats and like some house stuff and like cool 2017 stuff that I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, I'd love to support you. Like, you're just so cool. You're so talented. And I had flown out to Seattle to go visit him and we hung out at my boy Quinn's house. And Stefan and I went upstairs, and he showed me this song called Runaway. I'll never forget it. Never forget the melody. It was 3 years ago I let you go, and that's when you took my soul. 20 years old, you said to me, baby, it's not meant to be. And it was this like kind of Chainsmoker-esque like electro song, and I was just overcome with so much inspiration and hope and creativity and this feeling I had never felt before, and I needed something desperately to hold on to cling to make me feel like I had a purpose and make myself feel like I wanted to live. And so I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I said, brother, let's be rock stars. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know where that would lead me, but I needed something. So I hung on to that idea, and he started showing me a few things in Ableton, let me use his second Ableton profile, which I still use to this day. And I started kind of trying to make music, and it was really bad. It was really hard, and I didn't really make anything good for a long time. And it was very discouraging because I would consider myself a pretty adept and talented person. I pick up things very easily, and I'm good at most things that I try. But music was the hardest thing I've ever learned and tried to learn, and I didn't pick it up quickly, and it really upset me and discouraged me. So I would go from trying to make music, failing miserably, going back to playing League of Legends. And that cycle kept on going until I went to Thailand with my friend Kyle, and we traveled around for a month. I remember when I started getting there, at first I was taking videos and pictures because I wanted to show all my friends in the world that I was doing cool things and like I was traveling. And it was about 2 weeks in, I got to Koh Ping Yao at this bar on top of the mountain called 360 Bar, and it overlooked the coast and the ocean, and it was beautiful. And I took out my phone to take a video, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I not just being present and enjoying like what's in front of me? And I thought to myself, I was like, man, I really need to remember to breathe and enjoy my moment. And those words resonated inside me, and I was like, moment. I was like, I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that a lot. And I was like, you know what? Maybe moment is like what I'll go by. And I hung on to that and got home and started making a little bit more music and things that could be considered songs, not just a cacophony of weird random noises. Started diving a little bit deeper into it. And I met my friend Novus, who makes bass music, who's my best friend and roommate, and he was really into electronic music. And Stefan, ever since, was making a lot of hip hop, and I wanted to separate myself from him, differentiate what I was making, because I felt like I was following his footsteps and riding his coattails, trying to catch up to him because he started music a little bit earlier than me. And so I started making, electronic music, a lot of melodic bass at first. Again, not great stuff, but dove deeper into that. And then Stefan needed to get out of his living situation in Seattle, so I flew out to Seattle, packed everything he owned in his studio apartment in his Fiat, and we drove all the way to Las Vegas, and he lived on my floor for 6 to 7 months making music. And we decided to get an apartment, move into this nice place on Swenson. It was like a dream come true. It was so cool, basketball court on the roof. And that was right when COVID hit. So we snuck right into that place, and then everything shut down. I got furloughed from my job, and so I just spent a lot of time home alone. And I had already not really had any other creative friends. Had a great group of core friends that I hung out with, Salito and Nathan and Davin, and Stefan, of course, and then Novus, and then my lovely girlfriend at the time, who kept me balanced and held me down. And but throughout that time, I didn't really have the music skills or the mentality or the discipline as a human being to sit down and make music. So I went back to doing what I had always done, playing a lot of League of Legends and self-hatred. And I did that for a lot of COVID. And then when stuff started to open up a little bit, by the grace of God, I met a girl named Cami Kehoe online. She saw some of the Instagram stuff that I was kind of dabbling in. Had released one of my first songs, and she said, "Man, you're really cool. You got some cool stuff. I'd love you to meet some of my friends." And she took me to her friend Blake's house, and I met Blake Wisner, and he was throwing a little something called Last Friday, and it was in his townhouse, and there was like 15 20 people there, and I was blown away because this was the first time that I had ever met like-minded individuals and other creatives that wanted to do the same thing that I wanted to do, and I was overcome with just a number of feelings of creativity and inspiration, and I was so pumped to finally meet other artists and show my stuff, and some of those insecurities and self-doubt started to melt away a little bit. And Cammy and Blake and Adam were the first people to start calling me Moment instead of Gabe, and then Salito, and kind of just kept calling myself that. And I used to be like, people used to be like, "Oh, what's your name?" And I would be like, "Oh, Moment," but like, my name's Gabe. And yeah, eventually everybody just started calling me Moment, and it gave me the confidence and the power to believe in my own brand. And I started surrounding myself with people who fanned my flame and made me believe that I am Moment and I could be anything that I wanted to be. So I kind of shedded off the Gabe persona and adopted the Moment persona. And Moment was everything good in Gabe, but none of the bad stuff, right? And I started to develop this persona, which I have dealt with. It was good and bad. We can get to that later. But yeah, everyone started calling me Moment, and I started going to a few really, really early Last Fridays. This was before it was even barely a concept. And then I needed to get out of my living situation with Stefan immediately, and Blake needed to get out of his. And I was like, "Yo, like, you got something really cool here. Like, what if we like got a content house and through Last Friday?" And he was like, "Sure, like, I got to get out of my living situation." So we met outside an Einstein Bagels with 5 days before the lease ended, and we found a place. And this is the house that we live in now, the original Last Friday house. And we built a stage, got lights, and all kinds of stuff, and started throwing Last Friday here. And I started like kind of hosting and talking on stage, and it was just like a big open mic. The first month there was 80, second month 150, the third month 300 people in our living room, balls to the wall, house party, like some Project X shit. Like, people in the pool, naked in the pool, people in the garage doing all kinds of crazy stuff, people in my studio, and then a full-blown open mic and experience outside. And yeah, that was like 2.5 years ago, and we have continued to grow that brand Last Friday. And Last Friday, as I host and run the event, gave me my voice to be able to speak and feel confident on stage and in front of people. And it made me feel like I was Moment, and people saw me as bigger than life person and viewed me as Moment. And so through the course of throwing Last Friday for almost 2 years, commercially, I have continued to grow my brand and work on my own skills, and I finally felt comfortable enough to show other people my music and electronic music. And at the beginning of living here, I got this beautiful studio that you see now, and started making a lot of free music for people, and just being like, "Oh, whatever, I'm just gonna get people in here and I'll make music so I can get over the fear of like making music in front of people or thinking it's not good enough." Then eventually I was working at Grimaldi's, and feeling good, like Last Friday's doing well. Got fired. I got fired, and they canned my ass for some silly stuff. But it was the right time, and I was like, well, I'm never going back to work, ever. I'm not doing it. I'm not letting someone else dictate how I feel or who I am, and my time is more valuable. So I started opening up sessions and making hip-hop for people professionally, and engineering, and kind of just said, pay me for my time, and didn't know what that meant, and have been doing that ever since, and making music professionally for people, and engineering and composing, and that led me to develop a confidence in my ability to make music like no other, which then translated to my actual project Moment. that I've been developing and hoping to share with the world very soon. Got a lot of songs I'm very excited to release and show people. And then last summer, I got the chance to perform for Sammy Y and his show with Jay Douglas and Soul and a kid named Cam on the Run Records with Salt, and they gave me a shot to throw a show. And I came out, learned how to DJ in 3 weeks, and blew the roof off that place. Jumped in the mosh pits, had Blake on stage, did a full hip-hop performance with We Love You Spidey, and that was the turning point where I finally looked around and I saw that these people that I looked up to that inspired me, like Jay Douglas and Blake and all these talented people, that I was no longer just some guy, but now a peer. Now I could, stand next to them and be proud of myself. And that's when I first started to feel like, wow, I really am Moment. I've shifted that momentum into my project now, and it's coming up on a year from that, and been making more music than I've ever made in my life, and making the best music I've ever made in my life, and developing my brand and my energy and my discipline, 3 months sober, to try to stay focused on what I want. I have a vision, I have a desire to play the biggest shows in the world, and create an experience like I had in 2017 when I went to 2018 and saw Alenia back to back with Zed's Dead and San Holo, and felt my rib cage rattle from the sub bass and the mosh pits and the sheer visceral carnal energy at the show, and the experience that I got, albeit a lot of drugs, but the experience I got was unlike anything I've ever felt. And I looked at Millennium and I was like, I want to do that. I'm going to do that. And so that dream started to slowly develop into what it is now. And now my dream and desire is to give that experience to others. And, Moment, when you're at a show, when you're listening to your favorite artist, when you're present, those bills don't matter. That relationship doesn't matter. Your self-doubt, your insecurities, they don't matter. For that hour, you're locked in, you're present, and you're just enjoying the moment. And so I hope to, I will give that to people, everyone, someday. And continuously working on myself and making my dreams become a reality. And I think through my 6-7 years journey of making music, it's been really cool to watch, having an idea, saying, let's be rock stars. Not knowing what that is, but having the desire to create that form into something tangible when it wasn't. And seeing things happen to me right now for my career and for my life that I never dreamed would happen. So if I have any advice for, younger artists is, believe it can happen, because it can. A quitter never wins, and a winner never quits. So don't give up on your dreams. Let them blossom. Believe in them. Believe in yourself, because anything is possible if you dream it, and then do it. Try to do it. So yeah, that's just a little backstory on who I am as Moments and how my brand started to develop and what I'm moving towards today. So I'm gonna keep releasing videos like this, and do some other mindset stuff and thoughts, and I'm going to talk about addiction and shadow work and how to deal with the demons that are in your head and the voices that talk to all of us, and a bunch of other long form content, as well as YouTube shorts and Instagram shorts showing the creative process and how I create. But I'm so excited to show the world, show everyone all the hard work that I've been putting in the last 7 years. And I'm excited of my future, and I'm proud of myself. And we're going to keep on keeping on. We're never going to stop. So, as always, please remember to breathe and enjoy your